I'll listen to some more tomorrow. What happened? I actually went and watched, they had a thing that said discussing frontier of particle physics with Brian Cox, Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? And so they sit down and these two chaps start talking. And one of them was in a rock band that opened for Jimmy Page and Gary Moore and recorded in Joni Mitchell's studio back in the 1980s, about 1986. They toured for 5 years. And then in 1991 or so, they joined another band that had a hit called Things Can Only Get Better, which is not applicable in physics, which it can be. Yes, it is. But look, COVID protocols. And when we went on COVID protocols, the ecosystem recovered. Things can only get better. There you go. So when people are intelligent and they're faithful, things get better. If people are unfaithful, they are unintelligent, and therefore they perceive nature and the world in what they're doing is what's intelligent, which is not so. Because when you take things, when they're talking about what they're doing, what they do here is what you do is you study things to the most minute detail, then you break it down to the most minute detail, and then you manipulate it to see what you can do with it. Okay. That's Higgs boson colliders, yada, 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 yada. Okay? And you can, obviously, replicate horrendous, gas forms heat with fusion, fission, right? And mass murder people with it and threaten to mass murder people with it if they don't give you money. Live the Lord's Prayer and let the ecosystem recover. Things can only get better. So when you're looking at physics, you have to look at the entire spectrum, okay? Like they had a thing with Einstein, man. This one dude had a theory that the sun was slowly baking the earth, and Einstein supported it. It's like you're not taking into account that the people that bake, I was born near the Trinity site. Okay. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And so, it's just like, you can't, because that stupid Mormon bishop up in Ruidoso, my poor aunt, oh, well, anything you think you're doing can affect the nature and oh, really? So, Denver and Seattle and Chicago have nothing to do with global warming or petroleum in the snow. Well, that's fascinating. If we drill the petroleum out of the earth and it gets into the snow, shouldn't we attribute that making it difficult for people to live and die from cancer and have babies born with petroleum in them to us as opposed to an act of God or nature? Things can only get better, right? Okay, so Earl's like, man, I tell you, that's why they don't allow people like me into institutions of higher learning. I think they learned their lesson with Jiddu Krishnamurti and D.T. Suzuki. To that's like, keep this guy away. Alienate him. Piss him off. He's going to hate it. Yeah. Shelby Foote. Yeah. That's why I dropped out of Professor Simpson's class. We had to go do this. They had like an online chat thing. We could sit there and you get to chat with these giants of the history industry, right? I was like, I don't want to fucking talk with Shelby Foote. I don't like Shelby Foote. Shelby Foote's a fucking asshole. I'd have to tell him he's an asshole. Wait, what? You consider I will do the same thing to him that I did to Mr. Swank back at Las Cruces High School in 1983. You're pathetic. You want to own black women so you can have sex with them and then mutilate their men with guns and other forms of scientific advances if they don't capitulate and let it go. It was fucking bullshit. Have this other man raise your kids, and then you have sex with your own kids because they house niggas now, right? That's just fucking crazy, right? Just who thinks this way? People that do Higgs boson colliders and then label it the Higgs boson particles. Since that's I've got a 6-foot puka named Harvey. He follows me around the farm. It was him I was talking to in the barn. No, when I have feel the presence of people spiritually, I joked on that other one about, hey, David Gates, if it's a song by David Gates, never mind. And when I talked about Serve de Boris, I talked about Isaac Paul Benegas, my nephew. Okay. Never mind. Life's eternal grace is infinite. Genetic splicing. Genetic splicing, people that panic because they're being mass murdered off of the planet and ye of little faith, they have bad forms of relative faithful communication, okay, because they panic too much, okay. And people that are aggressive and violent and tried to breed other people off the planet are like Adolf Hitler. They have isolated forms of communication, but it's not faithful, so it's not reliable, it's not good. Like Hitler not going into that bunker because he knew he was, some little voice in his head said, you go in there, you'll die with all your fellow soldiers. So he didn't go in and they all blew up and died, and he lived because he had to be Fuhrer because he was the Messiah of Germany, right? Where Earl's, Jesus, I don't want to marry this. Okay, Jesus, but Jesus, what do you mean I have to stay together because of the stuff with Natalie? Because she's the key. The key to what? You don't need to know. Just do it. Okay. You're an asshole. You know that, Jesus? I'm just kidding. Just do it. Do it. And then when I had to go back to Sierra Vista, I sat in that bedroom. They recorded it. The military did. I said, don't make me do this. I don't want to do this. It's uncomfortable, and I don't want to go back. With what's happened with Amy and Natalie, the stuff that already happened, I just, I want to go back and do this. Is there another way I can get Natalie back to raise her here? And Amy, no, because of the economics. See, Amy came back to get Natalie because she was the one that she could deal with. The other ones are too much. There's too much responsibility for Natalie and too much for her. She came back to get Natalie and was thinking about getting another so she wouldn't have to pay child support. She was doing the math of the economics. It was just all about business. Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, right? So I'm like, fuck, And when she left to Bulgaria, I didn't go after her. They all wanted me to. Susanna Marcinus says, people will go get her and get your child support. I don't want child support. She has crumb with her. What if she does something desperate? What if something happens to that child? No. You guys tortured me for years with all that bullshit. And I'm not going to turn around and do it to a woman that's having to survive your fucking economic warfare. That's bullshit, especially when they have a child. Okay, you guys are such fucking assholes. I don't ever want to feel the way I did that day. Right? You guys are creepos and you're jerks. These people have brain injuries. Okay. Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Cox have brain injuries. Michio Kaku, Charles Liao, they have brain injuries. Okay. They've been this way. Okay. Brian Greene, they've been this way, through molecular structures over. It takes a long time, like Albert Einstein explained, to develop a brain that works in the manner that these people's brain. Matt Damon, our first discussion of Interstellar or whatever, Kip Thorne. These people. Who's this? What social media can do, health crisis. It doesn't say who the guy's name is. But yeah, there's all these people he's discussing stuff with. They all have forms of developmental disabilities, brain injuries. Okay, they break things down to the most minute detail. They have all this thing. They're excessive and compulsive, a lot like jocks. Like Earl dropped out of jockendom because it was okay. These fuckers are crazy. They will physically try to hurt each other over money because I won't try to hurt you over money. Well, it's fun to play sports and there's rules so we don't hurt each other, right? And then that's what got me in trouble with Mayfield, with Treviso and Oliver. No, I won't do that. Because I want you to. If I would have done everything he said, okay, and they were telling me that Johnny Medina took a charge from Willie Love and it hit his head against the wall, and I think coach was so proud of him. It's like, okay, concussed him, and okay. No, and my big thing was I don't want to take a chance on hurting Willie. Yeah, but Willie's 6'7", 240 pounds. Yeah, but he could tear his meniscus or something if I get under him and he lands funny, all that weight on his knee and stuff like that. Like what happened to poor Remy Berry, not Remy, Remy in Colorado when the guy stepped under him. Just like what happened to the What was that other kid's name? With the Solomon kid that was throwing a fit, Montgomery's kids or whatever, that step under you, and the same with the Wisconsin coach, make the ref make the call. I'm going to take you out and bounce your head off the hood of your car after the game. That's why I didn't coach. Like, what happened? He just knocked. What happened? The coach for New Mexico State was suspended because he took the coach from UTEP and knocked him out on the hood of his car because the kids were doing things that would physically hurt the other kids. And they were being coached poorly, so he knocked him to fuck out. Oink. I wouldn't kill him. I'd just teach him a lesson. Well, okay, I won't have my kids hurt your kids no more. It was not fun. I woke up in the hospital. My wife said, what happened? You better stop teaching your kids to try to purposely hurt kids for money. He don't like that. He'll kick your ass. He'll kick all the fourth blisters' ass. He'll kick all of you. Cage fighters. Kung Fu masters, Buddhist monks. I mean, you see Buddhist monks on TV. Give the man with lots of money, spending lots of money on ornamentation that makes no sense for economic activities that cause global warming and mass disasters and mass murder. A big medal with a dynamite man's face on a dynamite. No. It's Ned the Wino. Stop it. Google it. Okay. You don't know what I'm talking about? Google it. When you're young and in love, although many teardrops are bound to fall, true love conquers all. Ralph Carter. Yeah, he's singing that on Good Times. That's where Ned the Wino's from. Okay, it was actually a portrait of John Amos. So you don't look like Ned the Wino. Look at your dad. Okay. It's Jesus. All right, no, Jesus actually looks a lot like the artist representations. And the Shroud of Turin, art. It's artwork. Yeah, it's a form of artwork. Well, it has this and yeah, they found some way to maybe burn it in, or it was whatever they did, but it's artwork. That's what Shroud of Turin is, artwork. Okay, it's art. It's an artist representation. That's all it is. Just like all that fake ass bullshit that Constantine's mom did with the relics from the crucifixion of Jesus or whatever, which I'm probably sure that, yeah, people are sick enough to do something that fucked up and sick. Obviously, they still do shit like that. Aleister Crowley's mansion and poor Jimmy Page. And so, but, well, he bought the place. Yeah, but money can't buy you love, right? Elton John. Mama don't want you, daddy don't need you. Give it up, baby, baby. Money can't buy you love. Everything that you're doing by manipulating matter and using money to manipulate people, to manipulate matter, to break it down scientifically and say you owe it to yourself. No, when you understand things simply and you understand things intelligently, you don't need to break it down to the most minute detail to, quote, blow people's minds, to mess with their heads so you can feel powerful through manipulation. That's just batshit fucking crazy. Things can only get better. I'm going to go to bed. This one will load quickly. No more hour and 16 minutes right before I go to bed. Or I might have to have those green people, or where are they at? The aliens all come and suck your brains out with a straw. I'm the Messiah. I have that kind of power. I'm joking. I don't have power. I'm just influenced because I'm faithful, and people pray to me because I'm faithful. And then, you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with power. God is the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. I am the Messiah, the faithful one. Okay. Just in case any of you wackadoodles are wondering. Okay. I love you. We'll talk tomorrow.